Mia stood in front of the old Camaro and looked at it with calm eyes. The car was parked behind a closed gas station at the edge of town. Dust covered every part of it. The paint had lost its shine long ago, and the tires were flat. Most people who passed by only saw a broken and useless car. But Mia saw something different. She saw a chance to change her life. Mia did not have much money. She lived in a small rented room above a quiet shop. Every month was a struggle for her. She worked long hours fixing small machines and old cars for people in the town. Even with all her hard work, it was never easy to save money. When she heard that someone was selling an old Camaro for only $600, she knew she had to see it. The man who owned the car did not care about it anymore. He wanted it gone. He said it had been sitting there for years. No one wanted to buy it because it looked too old and too broken. But Mia did not mind. She had fixed many worse things before. After a short talk, the man agreed to sell it to her. Mia handed him the money, and the car became hers. Some people nearby laughed and shook their heads. They thought she was wasting her money. Mia did not listen to them. She felt something special about this car. Later that day, a tow truck pulled the Camaro to her small garage. The garage was not big, but it was clean and full of tools. Mia liked working there. It was the one place where she felt safe and in control. She started by cleaning the outside of the car. She washed away years of dirt and dust. The blue paint slowly came back to life under the water. It was still scratched and faded, but it looked better than before. Mia smiled as she worked. Every small change gave her hope. Then she opened the doors and began cleaning the inside. The seats were torn and covered with dirt. The floor was full of old papers, broken plastic, and empty bottles. She took everything out and threw away what was useless. She worked slowly and carefully, checking every corner. While cleaning under the driver's seat, she found an old key. It was small and rusty. She did not know what it was for, so she placed it on the table. It was just one more strange thing in a car full of old items. After many hours of work, she moved to the back of the car. The trunk was heavy, and it made a loud sound when she opened it. Inside, there was more dirt and a few broken tools. At first, nothing seemed special. But then Mia noticed something that made her stop. One metal panel inside the trunk looked different from the others. It was not as rusty. The screws were also newer. This was strange because everything else in the car looked very old. Mia touched the panel with her fingers. It moved a little. Her heart began to beat faster. She picked up a small tool and slowly removed the screws. She did not know what she would find, but she felt that it was something important. When the panel came off, she saw a small space under it. Inside that space was a black box. It was not very big, but it looked strong. The box had many scratches on it, and it was locked. Mia carefully lifted the box out. It felt heavy for its size. She held it in her hands and looked at it closely. Someone had hidden this box on purpose. That much was clear. She carried it to her work table and placed it there. For a long moment, she just stared at it. Her mind was full of questions. What was inside? Why was it hidden? Who had put it there? She picked up the old key she had found earlier. It did not look like it belonged to the box, but she tried it anyway. It did not fit. Mia sighed and placed the key back on the table. She knew she should be careful. There could be something important inside. Or it could be something dangerous. But her curiosity was too strong. She wanted to know the truth. Mia looked around her garage. The sun was setting outside, and soft light came through the window. The place was quiet. This was the perfect time to find out what the box held. She did not try to force it open. Instead, she searched for a better way. After a few minutes, she found a small tool that could help. With gentle movements, she worked on the lock. The lock made a soft sound and slowly opened. Mia took a deep breath. This was the moment she had been waiting for. She lifted the lid of the box. Inside were old papers, a small notebook, and a few photos. The papers were yellow with age. The notebook looked worn, like it had been used many times. The photos showed the Camaro when it was new and shining. In one photo, a man stood next to the car. He was smiling. Mia had never seen him before. But something about his eyes made her feel sad. She picked up the notebook and opened it. The first page had a name written on it. It was the name of the man in the photo. Under the name were many words written in neat handwriting. Mia did not understand everything yet, but she could tell that this was not just a normal notebook. It looked like a record of someone's life. As she turned the pages, she saw dates and notes about the Camaro. There were also messages about a dream, about leaving town, and about something that went wrong. Mia felt a strange feeling in her chest. This box was not just hidden money or old items. It was a story. A story that someone had tried to hide. She realized that by buying this old Camaro, she had found something much bigger than she expected. The car was not just a broken machine. It was part of a mystery. Mia closed the notebook and looked at the box again. She knew this was only the beginning. Whatever happened to the man in the photos, his story was still waiting to be told. And now, that story was in her hands. Mia sat quietly in her small garage with the black box in front of her. The evening light came through the window and touched the old papers and photos on her table. Everything felt calm, yet her mind was full of questions. The story hidden inside that box was waiting for her to read it. She opened the notebook again. The name written on the first page was Leo. It was a simple name, but it felt strong. Mia turned the page slowly and began to read. The words were written in clear and careful handwriting. Leo had written about the Camaro as if it was a close friend. He said the car was not just metal and wheels. To him, it was freedom. It was the only thing that made him feel alive. Mia kept reading. Leo had once lived in the same town. He had worked at a small repair shop not far from Mia's garage. He had dreams of leaving the town and starting a new life. He wanted to drive far away in the Camaro and never look back. But something had stopped him. The next pages talked about trouble. Leo wrote about people who wanted something from him. Mia did not know what it was, but she could tell it was important. He had hidden something in the Camaro to keep it safe. That made Mia look at the black box again with wide eyes. Could this box be what Leo was talking about? Mia turned another page. Leo wrote that he could not trust anyone. He was scared that someone might try to take what he had hidden. He said the Camaro was the best place to keep it, because no one would think to look inside an old broken car. Mia felt a chill. This was not just a random box. It was part of a secret that had been kept for many years. She looked at the photos again. One photo showed Leo standing next to the Camaro with a proud smile. Another photo showed him sitting inside the car, holding the steering wheel. He looked happy, like someone who believed in a better future. Mia wondered what had happened to him. Why had the Camaro been left behind? Why had the box stayed hidden for so long? The notebook gave more answers. Leo wrote that one night, something went wrong. He had planned to leave town, but he could not. He had to run and hide. He left the Camaro behind to keep the secret safe. Mia closed the notebook slowly. Her heart felt heavy. Leo had never come back for his car or his hidden things. That meant something had stopped him forever. The garage door made a soft sound as the wind moved it. Mia stood up and looked around. She suddenly felt like she was not alone, even though no one else was there. She knew she had to be careful. If Leo had hidden something important, there might still be people who wanted it. Mia placed the notebook and photos back into the box. She did not want to leave them out. Then she hid the box under her work table. It was safer there. The next morning, Mia went to town to learn more about Leo. She walked to the old repair shop he had written about. The shop was still there, but it was now a small store. An older man stood behind the counter. Mia asked him if he knew someone named Leo who had worked there many years ago. The man's face changed. He nodded slowly. He said Leo was a good worker and a kind person. But one day, he had suddenly disappeared. No one ever saw him again. Mia asked about the Camaro. The man said Leo loved that car. He had fixed it with his own hands. When Leo vanished, the car was found behind the old gas station. No one knew why he left it there. Mia thanked the man and left. Her mind was racing. Everything in the notebook was true. Back in her garage, Mia felt more sure than ever that she was part of something big. She opened the box again and looked at the papers. There were more notes that she had not read yet. One paper showed a drawing of the Camaro. It marked the place where the box had been hidden. Leo had planned everything carefully. There was also a small folded letter. Mia opened it. It was written to anyone who might find the box. Leo wrote that if someone was reading this, it meant he could not come back. He asked the person to keep his secret safe. He also asked them to finish what he had started. Mia felt tears in her eyes. She did not know Leo, but she felt connected to him. His dreams were now in her hands. She looked at the Camaro outside. It was no longer just a car to fix and sell. It was a piece of someone's life. Mia made a decision. She would not give up on this story. She would find out what Leo had hidden and why it mattered so much. As the sun went down, she felt both afraid and excited. The old Camaro had brought a mystery into her life, and she was ready to follow it. Whatever Leo had left behind was waiting for her to discover. Mia woke up early the next morning with the story of Leo still in her mind. The old Camaro sat quietly outside her garage, shining a little more now that some of the dirt was gone. It looked like a normal old car, but Mia knew it was far more than that. It held a secret that had been hidden for many years. She walked into her garage and pulled the black box from under the table. She placed it on her workbench and opened it again. The notebook, photos, and papers were still inside, waiting for her. Mia began to read more pages from Leo's notebook. These pages talked about a small metal case that Leo had hidden long ago. It was not the same as the black box. This second case was even more important. Leo wrote that the case held proof of something that could change many lives. Mia did not fully understand what kind of proof it was, but she knew it mattered. Leo had written that some people wanted to take it and hide it forever. That was why he had to act fast. There was a small map drawn in the notebook. It showed the inside of the Camaro with marks in a few places. One mark was on the trunk where the black box had been. Another mark was under the back seat. Mia walked to the Camaro and opened the back door. She lifted the seat slowly. Under it was a thin wooden board. This board was not part of the car. It had been placed there by someone. Mia carefully removed the board. Beneath it was a small metal case. It was dusty but still in good shape. Mia picked it up with shaking hands. This had to be the case Leo had written about. She carried it back into the garage. The case was locked, just like the black box had been. Mia tried the old key again, hoping it would fit. This time, the key turned in the lock. The case opened with a soft sound. Inside were several papers wrapped in cloth. There was also a small device that Mia had never seen before. She took out the papers first. They looked like old records. They had names, dates, and numbers. Some pages had stamps on them. Mia could tell they were important, even if she did not know exactly what they meant. Leo had written about these records in his notebook. He said they showed how some people had taken money that did not belong to them. He wanted to share the truth so that no one else would be hurt. Mia felt her heart beat faster. This was not just a personal story. It was something much bigger. She looked at the small device. It had a few buttons and a tiny screen. One of Leo's notes said it held more information. It was like a key to unlock even more proof. Mia did not know how to use it yet, but she knew she had to protect it. Just then, she heard a sound outside. A car drove slowly past her garage. Mia froze. She did not know if it was just a normal person or someone who was watching. She closed the metal case and hid it inside a toolbox. Then she hid the black box as well. Her heart was still racing. Mia realized that Leo had not been wrong to be afraid. If this information was still valuable, someone might still be looking for it. Later that day, Mia went to the town library. She wanted to learn more about the names in the records. The library was quiet, and an older woman worked at the front desk. Mia asked if there were old town records she could see. The woman helped her find a few books. Mia sat at a table and began to read. Some of the names in Leo's papers appeared in the town records. They were people who had owned businesses and land many years ago. There were also notes about strange changes in money and property. Mia slowly began to understand. Leo had found proof that some people had taken things that were not rightfully theirs. He wanted to make it public, but something had stopped him. Mia closed the books and took a deep breath. She was now holding a truth that had been hidden for a long time. When she returned to her garage, the sun was already setting. She locked the door and checked the windows. Everything was quiet. Mia sat down at her work table and opened the notebook again. Leo had written one more message near the end. He said that if someone found the metal case, they should take it to a place where the truth could be shared safely. He did not say exactly where, but he trusted that the right person would know what to do. Mia looked at the Camaro through the window. The old car had been silent for years, holding these secrets inside it. Now, those secrets were awake. Mia felt scared, but she also felt strong. She was no longer just fixing a car. She was carrying someone's hope. She knew that the next step would be the hardest. But she was ready to keep going, no matter what it took. Mia spent the night thinking about Leo and the truth he had tried to protect. The metal case and the black box were hidden safely in her garage, but she knew that hiding forever was not the answer. Leo had wanted the truth to be shared. He had trusted that someone would finish what he started. When the sun rose, Mia made a plan. She would take the records to a place where people would listen and where the truth could be kept safe. She did not know exactly where to go yet, but she knew she had to leave the town. First, she worked on the Camaro. The car needed to be in good shape for a long trip. She checked the engine, filled the tires with air, and cleaned the windows. It was not perfect, but it was strong enough to travel. As she worked, she felt like Leo was there with her, guiding her hands. The car had once been his dream. Now it was hers too. Mia placed the black box and the metal case in a hidden space inside the car. She also kept the notebook close to her. It was the heart of Leo's story. Before leaving, she visited the old repair shop one last time. The same older man was there. Mia did not tell him everything, but she told him that she had found Leo's Camaro and some of his things. The man looked surprised. He said Leo had been a good man and that he always hoped Leo had found peace. Mia nodded. She promised that Leo's story would not be forgotten. Then she drove out of town. The road was long and quiet. Fields and small hills passed by as the Camaro moved forward. Mia felt both nervous and excited. She was leaving the only place she had ever known. After many hours, she reached a larger town. It had tall buildings and busy streets. Mia parked near a small building that had a sign about helping people share important stories. She took a deep breath and walked inside with the metal case in her bag. A woman at the desk looked up and smiled. Mia told her that she had something important to share. The woman led her into a quiet room. Mia placed the case on the table and opened it. She showed the records, the small device, and the notebook. As Mia explained what she had found, the woman listened closely. She did not interrupt. When Mia finished, the woman looked serious but kind. She said that what Mia had brought could help many people understand the truth about the past. Mia felt a sense of relief. She had finally found someone who would take Leo's story seriously. The woman promised that the records would be studied and kept safe. She also said that Mia would be protected. When Mia left the building, she felt lighter. A heavy weight had been lifted from her heart. But the story was not over yet. A few days later, Mia received news that the records were real and important. They showed clear proof of what Leo had discovered. The truth was now being prepared to be shared with the world. Mia sat in her small room and looked at the Camaro outside. She had never expected a simple car to lead her to something so big. She thought about Leo and his dream. Even though he was gone, his voice was finally being heard. Mia knew that her life had changed forever. She was no longer just a small-town mechanic. She was someone who had helped bring light to a hidden story. The old Camaro had been more than a broken car. It had been a key to the truth. And now, that truth was finally free. Mia stood by the window of her small room and looked at the old Camaro parked outside. The car had traveled far from the dusty gas station where she first found it. It now looked cleaner and stronger, almost proud of what it had helped reveal. For Mia, the Camaro was no longer just a car. It was a bridge between the past and the future. The truth that Leo had hidden was now being shared. People were reading about the old records and the long-lost story behind them. Many were surprised. Some were thankful. What mattered most was that Leo's voice was finally heard. Mia felt quiet joy in her heart. She had done what Leo had asked, even though it was not easy. There had been moments of fear and doubt, but she had kept going. One morning, Mia was invited to the small building where she had first shown the metal case. The woman who worked there greeted her with a warm smile. She told Mia that the records had helped bring clarity to many old questions. Families who had once felt lost now understood what had happened. Mia listened as the woman spoke. She did not feel proud in a loud way. She felt calm and steady. This was the kind of peace that comes from doing something right. After the meeting, Mia walked back to the Camaro. She placed her hand on its hood and thanked it in her heart. Without this old car, none of this would have happened. Mia decided to keep the Camaro. She did not want to sell it anymore. It was part of her story now, just as it had been part of Leo's. She drove back to her small town a few days later. The people there were surprised to see her return. The old gas station was still quiet, but Mia felt different as she passed it. Back in her garage, Mia started working again, fixing machines and helping people. But now, her work felt lighter. She knew that even small things could lead to great change. One evening, Mia opened Leo's notebook one last time. She read his words slowly. They were full of hope, even in difficult times. She realized that Leo had never truly lost his dream. It had simply waited for the right person to carry it forward. Mia placed the notebook on a shelf in her garage. It would always remind her of the journey she had taken. The Camaro rested quietly, ready for new roads and new stories. Mia smiled, knowing that sometimes the greatest changes begin with something small and forgotten. And so, the story of the abandoned Camaro did not end. It became a new beginning.